Hi families and students, welcome aboard to our classroom on the boat. Today we are going to be playing a math game. And in this math game, we're going to be exploring the concept of quantity. Quantity is how many of something that you have. And with this particular game, we're going to be working on what's called subatizing. Subatizing is the ability to see a quantity without having to count. So, for example, if I do this and you look at it and then I cover it up, you were able to look at that group of items and say, there were 3. I'll show it to you again. So subatizing is the ability to see an amount without counting. Adults are pretty good at this. We've been practicing it for a while. If I do this, you can look at that quantity and know that there are 5 there without having to count. So with this game, with your child, you will start with a quantity of 5. Younger children who are 3 years old, you would even start with a quantity of 3 and work with 1 to 3 before you would move on to 1 to 5. And so how you play this game is very simple. You will choose a quantity and you'll say, okay, are you ready? Make sure they're actually looking at your hand. And then you're going to say, I'm going to show you something. You have to look and remember how many you see. Okay? So I lift up my hand. I do a count of 2, 1, 2, cover it up. How many did you see? Oh yeah, you saw 2. If they do well with 2, you can add the next quantity, which would be 3. You could try and see if they can do 5. If they can't, and here's the clue, if they get stuck and they say, well, I don't know, and you lift it up and they go, oh, I'll count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then they can't subatize the quantity of 5. The moment your child has to start counting the items to know how many, then that's where you stop. So you would not move on to 6 if they had to count 5 to know that there were 5 here. So if your child does really well with 5, then definitely move on to quantities of 6 and all the way up to 10. Now this is a skill that children learn with time and with exposure to different quantities. So please make sure you're also practicing counting those quantities so that they become very familiar with them. Another thing that you can do to help them with the subatizing is to kind of arrange them like you would see a quantity on dice. For example, if you do the quantity of 6 with your child, do you see how I arranged it in 2 groups of 3? So that'll make it maybe a little easier for them, and it's a familiar way that we see this quantity often represented in everyday life. Same with a quantity of 5. So we often see 5 represented this way, where you've got 2 here, 1 in the middle, and then 2 more. Same with 4. So I encourage you to have fun playing this game called How Many. Remember that any game you play with your child is a great time to just share and enjoy each other's company and have fun. I hope to see and hear about how this game goes for you. And until then, have a great day.